Why, hello everybody, welcome, my name is Rubydung, welcome to today's episode. As you can see, I'm over here on the title screen. That is because today is a very special episode. Today is episode 200. Woo! And every about 50 episodes or so, I've gone off on that for one of the little things, but about every 50 episodes or so, I have a little bit of a special. So, to commemorate, I suppose, the hitting 100 subscribers now here on YouTube, I might as well, as I normally do at these 50 episode milestones, make a world tour. So, for those who were just here in order to see what I do with the series and things that I build, today is going to be mainly a recap. There might be one or two things that I have done a little bit of progress on, but you're not going to be missing too much. But today is for all of the things that I have been building over the process of this entire series, all the way from Alpha 1.2, I believe is when this started, because I believe that's the Halloween update, which would have been years ago at this point. I believe that was back in 2009 is when that started, and yeah, it's about 5 years later or so now. So, with all of that now in mind, let's get started on the world tour. So, let's have everything load in. So, this here is my main base. As it slowly loads, and it's very large. But I am currently up on top of a structure as I fall down from it. But I might as well start with this because I am directly next to it. This here is my viewing platform. This is the actual platform that I use for, well, viewing the main base. I figured out there wasn't really a good position for me to view anything in my world, so I built a little house here for the observation of just my base as a whole. This is kind of where I do a couple of outros. This is obviously where I'm doing the intro for this episode, but that's just because it's a good observation point. So, this is kind of where I'm starting off today's episode. Second up, going all the way over here, we are going to be seeing my celebration cannon. I don't have any TNT on me, so I will not be setting this off currently, but what it is, I simply load this up with TNT, put a single TNT on top of that lily pad, then when I press that button, a redstone signal goes around, powers all the TNT. This comes up here, shoots an arrow at the TNT, dropping it down to this lily pad. All the TNT goes off, launching that up into the air, and then the TNT goes off because of the delay here. So, this is kind of just basically a firework shooter back before fireworks were really added, because I believe this was about an update or two before fireworks, and this is kind of what you had to do if you wanted to shoot fireworks. So, this is kind of what I built in that meantime. Coming over here, this is a unfinished project, so I don't know why I'm showing this off to you right now. It's not exactly very flattering, but over here is my large pumpkin project. So what this is basically supposed to be a massive pixel art of a jack-o'-lantern made from nothing but jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins, but I haven't gone very far on the project just simply because of the sheer amount of resources it takes to actually complete this. If I come over here, you can kind of see what I have been doing. I've been using a pumpkin and a jack-o'-lantern for scale in order to design this. This is at a 4:1 scale, or I guess technically this is 16, so this is 16 times 4, this is a 64 scale, I guess is the best way to put this, so 1:64. So this is going to wind up being very large, but it's currently unfinished, so this is just kind of it in its unfinished state right now. Alright, back up here at the viewing platform now. Let's get over to the main part of, well, this world, really. This is kind of like the main part of any time I talk about this world. This is the main part about it. But before I get to that, there is one small pit stop I'll be making on the way over here. Is a very small thing all the way over here is my original base, still in its complete state. If you guys want to go back and watch my first ever episode, this is what I wind up building in that episode. This is the building I have to make, well, I didn't have to make it, but what I wound up making back in, well, the first episode. This would have been the alpha days. There would have been no beds. Hostile mobs were extremely dangerous during this time. They would wind up killing you quite often. You would wind up spawning in, they just wind up killing you wherever you spawn, so you would wind up being stuck in a constant death cycle if you didn't wind up taking shelter. And I kind of got a bit distracted by attempting to do an intro that I didn't really make room in order to make a, well, shelter. So this is kind of what I emergency built. I just used wood and dirt and sand and some wool in order to make, well, this. As you can also see, while I was in here, I tried entertaining for the rest of the episode the best I could. I put up a painting and a bed, not a bed, but a boat, so that's what the first episode really consists of. I also wound up making a mine somewhere. I believe it's somewhere on this island. Not going to exactly give you guys a tour of that, but yeah, here it is. All the way down here is going to wind up being a large shaft. I'll give you guys a tour of that later. But there is that hole down there. That would wind up leading all the way over to here, though, which is the main base, which I feel I can now show you. This is the main ramp up to it. This is the dock over here, and this is a side pillar. This pillar doesn't go anywhere except for creating the illusion of a shortcut. It's just pure for decoration. So this doesn't do anything, sadly. One day I want to hopefully have that be more useful, but this is just kind of a decoratory pillar. But running all the way up here, we get to the main base. We have the large R over it for Rubydung, the name of my channel, as we get all the way up to here, and we're going to be seeing a few of the starting things. So, right forward is going to be the first ever project I had in this world, which is the mob farm. So, there is this, I was about to say, why is nothing spawning? This is a mob farm. As you can see, mobs get sorted in this thing and wind up being escorted all the way to different locations, in which case they are killed by water, by drowning, and then once they are completely suffocated by water, their items will drop. Previously, it used to drop into these water streams here, but then I implemented hoppers. The hoppers now pick that up, and they drop them into these chests here. Spiders obviously go over here, as you can tell, just by just the string, while the rest of everything goes over here, except for some string, because occasionally spiders get stuck here, and then, like, zombies will pick up the string, and then get suffocated over here and drop the string in here. So, yeah, it's not a perfect system, but, like, this is what I made back in, like, the alpha and beta days, so I still am impressed that it still works as well, as it does, with me making functionally no changes to it. The only changes I've made is something that we'll be talking about later. Also here is a furnace minecart. This was a thing I created decoratory-wise. I wanted something to be constantly moving around the base at all times, so I created a little kind of toy train system, I guess you can call it. I basically never use it nowadays because it's a complete waste of coal, but that's still something here. Walking all the way over to this side, I'm going to say, we will be going past several bits of storage. You will see a couple of different things that I like to keep here on hand at the base. I try my best to label what's everything here by having items or rules above each of the things. I believe the iron block, yeah, so that's supposed to be symbolizing, I believe, just generic weapons, while the pumpkin, I believe, is equipable stuff. Yeah, it's very weird. I probably should update a couple of things here, but, like, a couple of things still work. For example, wood should be here, and wood is indeed here, so that works perfectly fine, while we have main wooden items up here, while we have bulk wooden items down here. Like, occasionally the system doesn't work that great, but I have to come up with a compromise every once in a while. So this is basically how the system works, and over here we have my bed. This bed has been here for so long. I don't know why I haven't gotten rid of it. I don't know why I still continue to use it. But this is a bed that I believe I placed, like, it's probably been here since beta, honestly. I just kind of randomly placed it here, just to be like, I want to emergency sleep, and didn't pick it up, and just kind of left it here forever now. So this is just kind of what remains of that. Matter of fact, it's been here for so long that this painting over here is actually a reference to Portal. A very long time ago, they released Portal 2 now. And whenever Portal 2 came out, I wanted to create a little bit with me playing Portal 2 and referencing a painting. And that's kind of why this painting's here and I haven't gotten rid of it, is because this is to mark the release of Portal 2. So that's kind of what's going on here. Then we have a bit of a divide here. We can either go up or go this way. I'm going to cover the main floor area here first. So the main section of the floor, and then we'll cover upper layers. So we'll be going through that later. For now, we're going to be going down this direction, in which case we will hit a little sign that says saplings and a hopper with nothing in it with a water stream leading to it. Going this direction, we reach basically an empty room except for this one mushroom up here, which I installed fairly recently, but there's just a mushroom sitting up here, in which case if I head over here and go up a little bit, even though I said I wasn't going to be heading up, that's simply because I want to show you this. This is my main tree farm. This is where I get basically all the wood in my base. Like, my base is made almost purely out of wood, so I need a lot of it. And this is basically where that comes from, is this one cell, it's double layered, as you can see. There's a stream continuing to go up, and that reaches that layer all the way up there. And if I head all the way back down and over in this direction underneath the mushroom, we'll see another ladder and another water stream with this bit over here broken out, simply because I get annoyed easily. We will see a second farm. So I have 2 of these, technically in the world. Both of them for oak, because this base is made almost entirely of oak. Originally, this used to be birch, simply because birch also gave these types of planks. The only thing that was different was the wood type, and that birches grew taller. So technically, this farm used to be birch, and then I had to swap the whole thing over to oak when they got rid of birches giving you this type of wood, and they gave you a whiter version of that. I didn't want to start building my base out of white wood, because I felt that I would have had to replace too much in order to make that seem good. So I just stuck with oak wood, even though it's significantly harder to farm, simply because you wind up getting big oak trees, and big oak trees are super hard to take down. Once again, double layered. I have to cut those down every once in a while. It's looking like it's needing to cut right now. This hopper has some stuff in there, in which case you can see the little water stream, along with these water streams up here. Something falls down in them. They flow all the way down into this, and then they flow here. Walking through this little area, you see it's completely open in here, except for this little hole all the way back here, in which case this is just an emergency exit outside. I almost never use this, but it's very common for me to accidentally fall into the farm, and I just want to get right back to cutting down the trees, so I cut this hole out. It's not remotely pretty, but I don't really have many ideas for a great solution, so that just kind of winds up staying here simply because I can't really think of a better thing to be doing. Heading over on this direction, we actually get a second branch off. This part of the base I very rarely come across. Over here is my egg farm. So as you can see, I use quite a bit of pumpkin pie. I try to use mushroom stew whenever I can, but I use pumpkin pie still quite a bit, and because of that, I need eggs, and this is where I get all my eggs. There's a whole ton of chickens swimming all the way up there. They lay eggs, they falls down into the water here, and then flows all the way over into this. So that is where it's going on over here. This used to be my old food source, in which case what would happen here is I collect a whole bunch of eggs, throw them up into the water stream here, baby chickens would pop, flow all the way down to the center here, and then this whole thing is made out of what is basically retextured stone slabs. Back in the day, whenever you crafted basically a wooden slab, they used to have the same ID as stone slab. So it's basically a stone slab that was retextured, and whenever they decided to redo all the slabs, basically adding multiple wood slab types, they had to completely redo that. In addition to that, the reason why I'm having to explain all this is that these wooden slabs were completely fireproof, because they were basically just retextured stone slabs. So I had to build this whole area out of fireproof wood, basically, so that way I could drop a lava right here for about a split second. All the chickens would burn, and then drop all of their food. So then I'd walk up, grab all that, and then walk away. So that was basically what was going on over here. I very rarely use this nowadays. It's more of a passing area if I even come in here. The only time I ever come in here is to collect maybe a few eggs to make some pumpkin pie. But the more main part of this area is over here. Right now we're underneath a major farm. As you can see, the water is dripping and there's dirt on the ceiling. That is because there is a major farm right above us. Well, what used to be a major farm. I haven't used it in quite some time, but yeah, there is basically what's a major farm up here, and some pistons. Well, what happens is there's a little secret button here, and if I click that, we enter soul sand, water, and cobwebs, in which case very slowly. This is basically a deterrent for if I get invaded in this world for some reason, somehow. I don't think it's possible. To basically detract someone from wanting to come inside of here. But what it is as I slowly make my way over, you can see some redstone torches with a small little hallway. As I get all the way over here and then drop down, come on, aha, we get to a chest. In which case, in this chest is 2 very important items. There used to be quite a bit more in here, but all that remains is 2 items, which makes me very sad. But one of these 2 items is very important. So first off is a dragon egg. Obviously, dragon egg's very important. I might wind up making its own room for this item because there's only can be 1 dragon egg per world unless I use dupe methods. There's been several different dupe methods throughout history so far, and there's probably going to be a million more. Like, duping the egg is not a problem. There's probably one right now, but I have to go searching for it, and I don't feel like looking for dragon dupes, and it's not like I'm going to be able to do a whole lot with a whole ton of dragon eggs, so I just kind of keep the 1. In the event they ever become useful, I could theoretically dupe them. It could be safe for me to dupe them now, so they're more useful in the future, but I try to not exploit too many bugs in my series unless I feel it's interesting. And just duping eggs for no reason I don't find extremely interesting, so I tend to stay away from that. While the other item down here is probably my prize, my only remaining prize, because my other prizes were removed from the game, is my diamond pickaxe with Fortune 3 and Silk Touch 1. Back when enchanting was first added to the game, they didn't have it so enchantments conflicted with one another. Any enchantment could be with another enchantment as long as they could actually be put on that tool. And I wound up getting a Fortune 3 Silk Touch 1 pickaxe. I just kind of wound up randomly getting this off of, I think it was like a level 48 enchantment back when enchantments went to level 48. And just kind of wound up getting Fortune 3 Silk Touch 1 on a pick. I've had a few comments talking about it. As you can see, it's still full durability, so I have not experimented with this thing even remotely. I just kind of want to keep it nice and safe, so I keep it locked away. In this chest, I also used to have locked chests. Back a while, this would have been several years now, there used to be, well, there was this April Fool's prank that the developer decided to make, and what it basically was a massive TF2 reference. It was Man Co. crates, except they were called Steve Co. crates, and they basically took you to, like, shops for items, and it was all a big joke, but they added these crates actually to the game, and they wound up removing them much later. But I actually got my hands on a handful of these crates, and I hung on to them all the way up until they were removed. Not that long ago, whenever they added stained glass, they completely removed that, and I was completely saddened by the removal, and I have felt bad ever since. So, yeah, in case you're curious, I did not just let them despawn. What I decided to do was I put them on the roof of the Nether about 10,000-ish blocks away. There is an obsidian barrier to prevent me from getting within quite a large range of chunks near them. And then there's a little shrine containing each of them. I'm making sure to not load that area ever again, in hopes that one day they might re-add them. Because if they ever re-add them, then I can run out there, grab them, and put them back in my vault. So that is my hope for that, but until then, they have to remain completely exiled. All the way over here is a completely unfinished part of my base, as you can tell. Up here is an elevator going to higher levels. I think I might have used this only whenever I was building this thing. I am never at this side of the base, so this is a near useless structure, but it's an elevator, and elevators are useful. And then over here, we have a cocoa bean farm. So this bean farm is very simple. I'm just going to break this open. I don't feel like triggering it. There's a redstone wire that runs all the way through here. Water pops out, breaks off all these cocoa beans, and drags them all the way to the end here. Then I run through and replant all of them. So that's basically what this farm does. I almost never use cocoa beans, so I never use this farm. Matter of fact, I use cocoa beans so little, I'm just throwing those off on the ground there. Alright, back at the bed here. So this is where the bed and painting are. Night is here, so it is time to quickly sleep at the bed once again. Refuse to get rid of it for some reason, but we're back here at the intersection because this side of the base is now almost entirely explored. There's like some minor stuff I could show you over there, like beacons and such, but I don't think you guys really care. Because then straightforward, we got more stuff. We got like pumpkins and melons and things like that. But once again, nothing extraordinarily interesting. Up until we get to this side, once again, there is another divide here. This one's significantly shorter though, because this isn't a track up. This here is a villager completely sealed away. Tried to make him as safe as I possibly could. And what he simply is, if I open this up, you'll see 10 emeralds for a diamond pick. That is this villager. He is, back in the day when villagers were first added, they didn't do anything. And then one update, they decided to give him trades. And the trades they decided to give him were vastly ranging in quality. And you could make a trade as many times as you wanted. There was no cap to the trades. As long as you had the resources in your inventory when you open them up, you could keep trading with them. And this guy offered diamond picks. And they have since added enchantments to them. So in the event you wanted to get that, you would have to hope to find a villager that offered a max upgraded diamond pick, which is nearly impossible. It's so rare to get something like that. But this guy is just as good, because he offers plain diamond picks at a reasonable 10 diamonds. If I wanted to get something like that nowadays, I would probably have to spend about 20 diamonds on an efficiency 1 diamond pick, get a single use on it to have durability go down, spend another 20 diamonds, buy another diamond pick, get a single durability down, combine them in my crafting square here to make a diamond pick, 40 emeralds for 1 diamond pick. This guy's just 10. It's a way better deal, so I keep this guy around because his deal is absolutely excellent. And in addition to that, I was talking about the stone slabs earlier. This is basically my on-base storage for these. As you can see, they are ID 0044-2. In the event you care at all, I believe actual 1 slabs are ID 0133. Maybe -0 or something like that. I'm not sure. Well, /0. But yeah, what this basically means is that this is a stone slab variant. So that's what's going on here. Completely fireproof. I also put some rails here. Just wanted to make sure the zombies couldn't get to him, even though there's a fence and a block. I really wanted to protect him. But heading all the way down here, as you can see, once again, more mushrooms in the ceiling to help me eat. We get over to this intersection over here. Over here is a very old build that I do want to quickly show by going all the way up here. But this used to be a passive mob sorter. So all of the glass here, what would happen is that cows and sheep would fall over there, while pigs and chickens would fall down there. And the reason why they were falling down there was all the way up here, I had a massive grass platform that they would spawn, fall in the water in between sections, and then fall down here. They would fall over here, wind up getting sorted, and the pigs and chickens would fall here. As you can see, there is a little sign up there. You might not be able to see it too well, but there's a sign right there. What would happen is pigs and chickens would go over here. Pigs would fall quickly, and it was at just the correct placement that a pig would fall through, get hurt by the lava, but fall down here, that they would be left at just a small amount of health that they would hit but not die, but then about a tick or so later, the fire would kill them. While the chickens that fell through there would land in the lava and just burn away, because I didn't want the feathers. At that time, zombies dropped feathers, and I had more than enough feathers. I almost never used them. While cows and sheep, they just dropped leather and wool, so they just fall down here, and I just walked over and picked them up. Over here, the vault is right over in this direction, but if we head up a very small amount, we get to my old wheat farm. So, all of these water streams and dirt, this is where the vault was. So the vault chest, I believe, is sitting about right here or so, somewhere in this area. But if we walk all the way over here, this is about where the platforms are and where the dirt is. And if I went up here and placed in a water bucket, water would be distributed into multiple groups and then fall out and then pop up all of this wheat and throw it into this water stream down here. And it will fall out over here. Then I had to go through and replant it. The reason why I'm not showing you this is because I don't want to replant this whole thing. I never use it nowadays. I have a way better farm. This is just kept around because it is very old and I like it. It also looks really cool. This is of my farms I've built, probably one of my better looking ones. I probably could, like, make it look even better still, but, like, I still really like how it wound, well, how it wound up. So I keep it around for that. I think I still keep, yeah, I still keep a wooden hoe just in case when I trample the crops in there. So that is what's going on over there. While if I continue forward over into this direction, we get to, well, a little bit of a divide. So I am going to go up for this side and head over here. We get to a second floor. The stairs over on there on that side also go up here. But if we head up here, we get to the bedroom I never use. So this was what I intended to be my bedroom, but it's extremely inconvenient. It's super out of the way. And yeah, like, so I never used this actual bedroom. I might have slept in it like 2 or 3 times, but basically what it's supposed to be is that a bed's up here, and I'm supposed to be filling it with great gear, like with diamonds and stuff, so that way if I died, I can immediately re-equip and go somewhere, but I once again never use this bed, so I never spawn up here, so I wound up never needing to equip stuff up here, so just wound up being a completely useless build. But I like the look of it when we go outside here. I need to drop down just a little bit further. In which case, heading over here, after we drop down just a little bit, we get to my rail. This was the rail I made for the On a Rail achievement. So this goes like 1,000 blocks or whatever, I think it's like 500 actually, blocks away, over to another area. If I look back, we get a back view of the base, like the back view, in which case, here's the little building. I basically made this bedroom to find a way to decorate, basically this building, because I made this and I was like, okay, I need to find a use for it, and I decided the peak there to just basically make like a little suite. So that's what that room wound up becoming. If I head all the way down here on this side, we are going to wind up getting to a old XP farm. So previously this used to just be a feather farm, and then they turned it to rotten flesh, and rotten flesh was completely useless, but they also added XP, and I was really wanting XP, like really wanting XP, so this wound up becoming an XP farm. And what I would wind up doing is letting zombies gather up in here, and then I would brew a health potion. So I have a bunch of resources and health potions inside here. I would make more over here, and then after about sitting here for about an hour or so, throw in a health potion, kill all the zombies, and then wind up enchanting over here. So here's basically all of that. I believe I have some enchanted books in here still. Yeah, oh, I still have enchanted axe. What's you? Fortune 3? Iron axe? But yeah. Basically a bunch of other chests here. I believe I have, like, diamond tools randomly here as well. Yeah. So that's basically what was going on over here. I had to wind up adding a slab at one point when they had baby zombies, because a baby zombie would just fall down, run out, and kill me while I was sitting here AFK, so that's kind of what I wound up having to do here. They also appear to be dying here for some reason, except for the ones in armor. The armor is the reason why I stopped using this, is because it just became too hard to kill them. Health potions became extremely inconsistent, so I wound up having to move to a new XP farm. And the new XP farm I like, but it's a lot more manual. I can't AFK it as well. But if I drop all the way down here, this one's a much bigger drop, but also a much older build. We get all the way down here. In the event you saw there, this water here is extremely deep. That is because this build is so old, a single block of water wouldn't stop your fall. You had to use a lot of it. In which case, we get to my old mines. So these are the original strip mines that I used to do. In which case, I wanted to get diamonds, and this was really where I wound up doing that. I wound up hitting lava, so I kind of had to stop at this level, and it wound up being a fairly good level. Got some good diamonds off here. But most notably is if I head off in this direction over to here, we get to the first ever build of the base. Let's head off in a straight direction, so that way I don't wind up getting lost. But if I head off in this direction, we're going to wind up seeing that this is a very large clearing. This was the first ever base project I wound up making in this world, which was originally supposed to be the mob sorter. As you can see here, mobs are supposed to wind up getting stuck in this water stream, carried all the way to the center, and then pushed up. I wound up making that above instead of below, so wound up never using it. But as you can see, it works perfectly fine. Stuff spawns down here, so... Oh, it's a baby zombie. You stop that. Go down there. Alright. Alright, back over here at the passive animal sorter, well, the former passive animal we have this direction to go, In which case, stopping here, we actually have a old build for me to kind of show off. Do I have any building blocks? Kind of. Actually, I have Nether Portals on me. Let's go up here. Woohoo! We have my old mushroom farm. So, previously I had a mushroom farm for me to eat soup, as you can see. Still doing that today, but previously, one of the only ways to easily get food to stack in the game was actually with mushroom stew. Because, food did not stack previously, so if you wanted to get a whole bunch of food on your inventory easily, you had to use mushroom stew, because you could have a full stack of brown mushrooms, a full stack of red, and obviously a bowl of soup. So, if you were capable of doing that, then you were capable of actually having multiple sources of food on you all at once. I have stopped using it because it became extremely useless once food began stacking. And then at one point I wound up moving mushrooms all the way out here, so it became extremely useless because mushrooms are just factually a better source of mushroom stew than mushrooms are, so wound up never using that again. I have a couple of chests and different things in here, but I don't really use that except for maybe storing some random items. Coming over here, we get my pumpkin and melon farm. In case you're curious, these are basically just two extremely tall towers. Looking all the way up here, yep, just extremely tall. Pistons are running on a constant clock, pushing them and making sure that they fall down into those hoppers down there. And yeah, nothing really complex about these. It's just loud and irritating, so I keep it out of the way so I can never hear it. Heading off in this direction, I might as well get to this because this is another very small thing. This is my former cow farm. So what it used to be is there used to be water right there in that block. But what it would do is I could hit this switch and water would pool over there. Cows would sit there in that section and sit there and breed and breed and breed. And then there'd be lava there. So whenever I would sit there and breed and breed and breed, I would push this, the cows would push over into that area, pull this back up, and as long as I kept it here, the cows would sit there inside the lava, bobbing up and down. So the actual blade of lava would eventually kill the cows, and they would drop the resources. This farm was not very efficient, but it was the best you could do for an automatic cow farm at the time. As you can see, I have a little glass block here to make sure I didn't accidentally walk into where the cows were being killed, and a little section here so the cows would sit there and bob up and down, and I would sit there and feed them with wheat. So this used to be a good design, but it's extremely outdated nowadays. There's way better designs, but this is the best you used to be able to do back then, especially considering how baby cows used to be the exact same height as adult cows, so there was no good distinction between sorting them. So this is kind of what you had to do, is breed them all up and then just kill them all. So that's what I mainly had to do. Using entity cramming, I also could cause them to slingshot across from one another. This is a very old glitch, is if you had a bunch of things piled up in one place, they you would release them, some would stay in that place, while a whole bunch would immediately catapult out. So I would do that, and basically have them quickly transfer over there, and about half the pile would just shoot out into another area, and then that's what would happen. So that's kind of how the old thing used to work. Obviously mechanics are different nowadays, so that farm doesn't work as well. Over here we got a gold farm. It's very slow, but it's fine. Heading over in this direction, we get to the sheep farm. So basically what it is there's a bunch of sheep next to grass. I can walk over, shoot the sheep, grab that. It's very simple. It's not that complex. You can probably figure out quite easily what all of this is about. Head over, here's the new updated cow farm. It is still not very good. My troubles with cow farms. So, the simple thing of how this cow farm works is you walk behind, you breed up the cows, and the baby cows, which are only a single block tall, file all the way over here and land on this trapdoor here. This trapdoor keeps the water from pulling into here, so hopefully the cows stay still. Once they grow up, they land in that lava. The lava is flowing downward, so it pushes them in a downward direction so they won't float up it. But as they're doing that, they'll sit there and die. Their drops will fall on the ground and land in this chest here. This system is not very good, because what will inevitably happen is a baby cow will wind up trying to jump whilst in this space at some point in its entire childhood and wound up killing itself by accident. So occasionally, after breeding like 100 cows in here, you might get like 3 leather. But yeah, it's not a perfect system, but I'm not exactly the master of perfect systems. So heading all the way over here, though, we get another tunnel that I've recently built, and heading off in this direction, we get an up and a down direction. Heading in the up direction, we see a whole bunch of stalls. This is my trading hall. So what it is I have a villager breeder somewhere, and they are filed down here and organized, so that way I can make trades. Recently, zombies decided to kill a whole bunch of them, so I don't have as many in the trading hall as I normally do. But yeah, as you can see, a couple of villagers. I've already done some trading with a couple of them, so that's what's going on over there. It's completely open over here. That is because I do plan to extend this, because this is functionally infinitely tileable, so I still might extend this into the future if I want the trading hall to be even bigger, so I just didn't build a wall. Down here is the redstone for this. All you simply need to know for the actual redstone is that when a villager falls down, they need to go up, and this redstone creates basically a memorization system to make sure that multiple villagers do not wind up in multiple cells. As a matter of fact, you can tell the villager is in a cell if the torch is out. If the torch is out, that means a villager is currently occupied. If the torch is on, that means a villager is not in there. So basically, in the event you're not wanting to look at my even easier system up above, then you can come down here and figure out which villagers are here and which one's not, and also if a system is broken or not, because if a torch is off here, that means it thinks there's a villager in there when there shouldn't be. So that is what's going on over there. In addition to that, the easier system is basically just looking at these lamps and looking inside. These gates here are to basically make sure that a baby zombie can't hop inside, so that's what's going on over there. In the event I'm not very satisfied with a villager, I have these levers to suffocate them. They'll suffocate, the light will go out, and then I can unflip this and allow a new villager to come in. So that is what's going on with the trading hall over here. Alright, rewinding a little ways back, over here is the villager, not the villager, the passive mob sorter, and over here is the villager. Don't get those mixed up. So, continuing on our clockwise maneuver, going all the way around here, we get to another 2 divides. So, let's talk about the short one to begin with here. Over here is where I collect iron. So, I have an iron farm, and it files all the way over to here. So, this is where I pick this up, so not very complex. The iron farm is significantly more complex than just the iron sitting here in a chest, but basically, anytime I need iron, I'll come over to this chest, and assuredly there will be a bunch of iron here. On the side note, I have something over here. This is a test run I made for XP. So, I have an XP and an auto. So, I normally keep this on auto because XP is not very useful, but if I have it on XP, then I will be capable of reorienting my actual automatic mob farm to file them all the way over into this direction. In which case, if I do so, I can sit here and punch them and get a little bit of XP. It's not very good. I have a much better farm already, but yeah, if I swap this back to auto, it will automatically drown them, so mainly keep this on auto, but if I need, like, XP very, 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 very desperately, then I can use this, but I have better XP farms in this world, so never use that. Heading off in this direction, we are going to be getting to one of the oldest farms. I believe this is the second oldest, which is my old Sugarcane Farm. This is the remnants of that. It is almost completely gone, so basically very little of the sugar farm exists, but you can tell very much what used to happen here is I would just run through and break sugarcane as I ran through. Not very complex, but nowadays, as you can hear all those pistons, I have an automatic sugar farm that automatically collects all that up into a chest for me, so all I have to do is reach up, and I have a whole bunch of sugarcane. No longer have to run through and manually collect that, because previously there didn't used to be hoppers or even pistons when I first made this thing, so I had to automatically collect all that manually. Then, running all the way over here, we have a big open space with a large staircase. This is basically a manual way of being able to ride over to the next layer, because I have horses, and I wanted to be able to ride a horse around in order to basically use this base. That wound up not being extraordinarily practical, so I almost rarely use this, so not very much of this is actually complete, and it takes a ton of resources to even get this thing finished, so this thing just kind of remains completely unfinished until eternity, I guess. Running down this direction, we're going to get a whole ton of hallways. This is basically just a massive grid to allow for future extension. So, in the event I ever want to extend in any particular direction, this is a whole ton of hallways in order to do that, and I've only ever used one particular way, and technically a second way, but this is basically just redundancy, so I'm going to choose to ignore that for now. But heading over in this direction, we are going to see the mythical horses I was talking about. This over here is a horse pen used for breeding. Originally, I was using this to attempt to breed the, quote, perfect horse. I was trying to find the fastest horse I possibly could, and gave up very quickly because I just couldn't be bothered to micromanage horses. So I might wind up picking that up again, but it's not something that I found extraordinarily fun, so I just wound up not participating in it very heavily. But heading over in this direction, we get to another mini intersection, and heading off over here, we get to the Strictly Better Wheat Farm. So, looking inside these dispensers, you can see there's a whole bunch of bone meal. I've used up quite a bit of it using up this farm, but what it basically is if I flip this lever, you can see dispensers flicking and that piston coming up there. That is simply a automatic wheat farm. Place a seed there, grows up, breaks the thing automatically, bone meal, regrows it. Very simple thing. Gets me wheat significantly faster than the other farm, so I wound up using this significantly more. Heading off in this direction, we are going to see what I was using to test horse speeds. What this basically is a very quick pulse, and then gates that automatically close in order to prevent any further movement, and then from there I can measure exact distances based off of travel periods. So if I stop here at this gate, then that will be 8. So for example, if I decide to walk through this thing, I would wind up stopping at 5. If I decided to go through and sprint, I would wind up stopping at 5. Okay, something went wrong there. 7, there we go. Okay, that's more accurate. And then if I decide, like, sprint jump through here or something, 8, so I go a little bit faster. So yeah, basically just measure speed. It's kind of inconsistent, though, as you saw there, so don't use it too often, and also don't breed horses too often to wind up using that. Over here, completely exposed to the elements, was a more recent project. This is a tree farm. So what's going on here is, as you can tell by this thing being maxed out here, step on this pressure plate, planks will move out forward in front of these pistons, and in front of these pistons, you'll wind up seeing a small block of wood forming. This is supposed to be a more automatic form of tree farm, because I want to get more wood more quickly, but this farm is proving to be interesting. It's very inconsistent that these trees can even grow and wind up using a significant amount of bone meal, and I have a hard time supporting the amount of bone meal that this thing wants. On top of that, I think the redstone got broken here at some point. Did it actually? I think the redstone actually got broken here at some point. Oh, golly. Are you kidding me? Oh, no, the redstone's fine. Okay. I was very concerned there. But yeah, basically it's just supposed to be, I plant a sapling here, stand here, this piston winds up going off, spreading a whole bunch of bone meal onto this thing. Eventually it will grow. Once it does grow, these pistons will trigger, pushing this thing forward. It's not extraordinarily complex, honestly. Alright, all the way back over here at the auto farm, well, automatic X/XP area. Heading all the way back around, we're going to get all the way back to the front here. So, with the bottom portion of the base now fully, well, explored, we can now begin exploring the upper levels, in which case I'm going to start with the main tower upper levels. Heading all the way up here, we simply get my main furnace array. This is basically a billion furnaces, all wrapped all the way around to get me as much resources as I really want. So if I need fuel, I basically just fill this thing up. I'm curious if I have anything loaded. Nope. It's very rare for me to wind up filling this whole thing up. I think I've only ever done it twice in this entire series that I need to fill this entire thing. So not very common that I need to fill all these furnaces up, but it is possible. But nothing else really around here. I have another bed that's been here for an eternity. But also another note, I have Nether Portals. Whenever I go to explore the Nether, we're going to wind up going through these, and the only other thing on this layer of special note is this is where I wind up filing some iron. This is basically just kind of a mini half section, so iron falls down from here, lands in these hoppers, and winds up getting sorted down below. Here's the center inner workings of this base. It doesn't look pretty on the inside, but I have this open and exposed because I like looking at it occasionally. Sometimes looking at something ugly just can really make you appreciate other things. But yeah, we have that going on over there, and the Nether Portal's happening over here. And if I head up one more layer, you're going to be seeing the another part of the base, which is the other exposed part. I always planned for there to be a third layer of this base, but I just haven't built anything up here because I simply don't know what to build. And also, the section up here would be cut in half because you remember that water stream I was talking about earlier? Yeah, this is where this part is the, I believe this is the third to last transitionary period. So I guess this is the middle one because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess, yeah, this would be the middle. This is number 3, so. That's what's going on all the way up here. You can see mobs falling all the way down here, as you saw that a bit earlier. There's a water stream right here, in which case I can get all the way down to the Nether Portals if I need so. But we're not done with the main tower there. It may have looked like I reached the very top, but I'm not even close, actually. In order to get to the very top, I actually need to go over to the side here, right over to where the tree farm is. I have a little elevator. It says auto storage. Now you might be wondering, oh, what's going to wind up being there? I wonder what's the auto storage sign. In case you're curious, it's auto storage. But yes, a very long way up a water elevator, we will wind up getting to a little section. In which case we get a nice aerial view of the base out here. You can wind up seeing the tops of the tree farms. You can wind up seeing that elevator over there. But if I walk all the way over here, we get to my auto farm. So what this simply is there is a couple of chests all around here and some other chests. So, for example, if I wound up throwing in, like, melons, let's say, into here, it will wind up getting sorted in here, pumpkins over to here. Basically, a whole bunch of bulk items, like sugarcane, for example. I have a ton of sugarcane, so dirt, I wind up using quite a bit of that. But yeah, basically, items I have a ton of, I wind up throwing into these chests up here, and they'll wind up getting sorted in these chests over here. In the center here, we just have some iron bars so we can look at the redstone for all that. Not too complex. It's something that is very common for an auto sorter, so just redstone to look at some common redstone, I guess. It's kind of sloppy, though, so everything in my series is going to wind up being sloppy, so just prepare for that. Heading all the way, I'm going to say back this direction so I can continue in a clockwise manner. Don't want to disrupt the clockwise maneuver. We're going to wind up going down this direction. We can see the passive mob fields that we talked about earlier. That over there is going to wind up being the wheat farm, and we're going to wind up getting all the way to a little intersection here. You know that water stream went up earlier through the passive mob farm? Yep, leads all the way up here to right above where the actual grass fields were. Heading over in this direction, this is going to be the elevator system that we saw earlier to get down to where the Volt and the cocoa bean farm is. So if we look down here, we can see all of that. So, never use this thing, honestly. This is probably one of the first times of me entering that water stream in a very long time. So, not something that's extraordinarily important or even nice. But yes, as I run past the intersection here and head off in this direction, we're going to wind up reaching a hallway, and we're going to wind up getting to another glass floor. This here is entirely filled with nether portals. This is my gold farm, if you remember correctly. I quickly ran past and showed a couple of gold nuggets and rotten flesh. This is where that's coming from. A whole ton of nether portals. Right next to all of them is some water streams, so pigmen will fall into the water streams and wind up getting flowed all the way into a center area right here. Fall all the way down there into a collection system in which they are drowned. So, with that all said, heading over into this direction, we're going to wind up seeing my villagers. Aha, another iron golem is stuck here. I need to wind up killing this thing. Every once in a while, an iron golem will get stuck here, and he might wind up backing up the villagers, or if there might be extra villagers bred up here, which I think there are again. This villager breeder isn't very good. So every once in a while I have to go through here and quote cull the villagers. I don't actually kill them, I just wind up pushing them into the water stream down here. This iron golem is basically a sign that something bad has happened in the villager breeder, so need to go back through here and do that. It would also answer why there's not very many villagers in the villager breeder at the current time. So that is something that I now need to keep an eye on. It's not very easy to reset the thing, hence why I'm not going to be doing it on the world tour here. That's going to be wind up something I have to do between episodes, which I don't like doing. I hate resetting that thing. It's so annoying. I might as well just make a new one in a new episode. But yes, heading off in this direction, we get to the stairs here. So this massive thing of stairs, this is where those wind up leading all the way up to this lair. Heading off in this direction, we are going to wind up getting all the way back to the auto sorter. So, auto sorter, woo! All the way back here. Now, I'm actually going to be heading off in this direction, the auto sorter, to go down this hall. So remember that useless tower I talked about earlier? If I were to break through this floor right here, we're going to wind up getting to where that useless tower leads. Right down here. Yeah, as you can see, useless tower. Technically, I could theoretically leave this open, and it would be a nice, quick thing, but as you can see, it disrupts the floor very heavily, so I wind up not doing that. Down here is just a drop down, so if I wanted to quickly get to the bottom layer as fast as possible, I can just jump out this window and wind up getting all the way to a bottom layer as quickly as I can. You can see the viewing house. It's a good viewing platform for the viewing house. And then over here is my spawn. So this is where my spawn is. It's supposed to be on the ground, but I have built this platform all the way up here. Previously, it was all the way down here on this island, and I decided to make a large platform in the air, and I would spawn all the way up here, and if I wanted to get down there, I can run all the way over here and jump out this area, or if I need to be on the upper layer, then I can just run all the way up here. I feel it's easier to be on a high level and then go down than it is to be on a low level and get up. So I made this thing basically as a way of staying high and then being able to go down quickly. I have to keep this area completely open to the air, because if I put any blocks, then I just wind up spawning on those blocks, and this area won't be very useful, so I kind of need to keep this whole area open to the sun. Heading over here, we're going to wind up seeing the villagers. They're all going to wind up being over here in this area, crowded up together. I don't know why they want to stay in this corner, but they like this corner a lot. But basically what's going on over here is, this is where my actual iron golems wind up spawning. So if I head all the way up here, I left this staircase in, and I jump all the way up to here. Oh no, wait. This is actual wood. I'm just too used to breaking wooden slabs with the pickaxe. But yes, as you can see, iron golems spawn up in this little dish here. Villagers are here. This is the center of where the whole official village would be considered. So they spawn there, drop down, and they wind up falling into a little chute. Then, hopping all the way back down here, this is a continuation of the staircase that's going all the way down. The staircase technically has a T-section. I'm not going to run the whole staircase because I hate the staircase. Spent so many episodes building that thing and I don't like it. Then heading all the way over here, we have a continuation. As you can see, this is where the divide for back to the auto sorter was, and here is where the gold farm is. So I have explored, I believe, the entirety of the upper section of this base. Alright, with the main base almost entirely exhausted of things for me to talk about here, it's time to get to the Nether for me to show off some other projects that I have been working on. We're going to wind up getting here to the Nether Hub, in which case, as you can see, it's basically just a small little stretch. One thing I do want to quickly talk about here is I have some nether brick, glowstone, some flooring, and some water. Previously, back in the olden days, back when they first added Silk Touch, you could pick up ice and then put ice in the nether, and whenever you would break it, it would wind up turning into water, because whenever you break ice, it turns into water. That was just an oversight on their part, and I wound up decorating my Nether Hub here with a little bit of water. I don't have it all the way throughout the area, so for example, when I get over to here, you're going to wind up seeing it's waterless in this area. That is simply just because that's all I decorated with my limited supply of ice. I didn't want to waste it, so going all the way over here into this portal, you can see it is completely filled with zombie pigmen for some reason. Okay then, but as you can see, a little bit of a lava roof, and if I head all the way over here, this is the end of the rail. So this is the exact length of the on the rail achievement, and I decided to build a base here. This is basically what I call my transit base. This is basically just a little intersection to other bases that I have made in the past. So nothing that's going to be too big of a deal out here, just kind of a small little intersection area. The only real thing of note that you guys probably would be interested in is if I poke my head through this hole here, we have a long drop down, and there's technically going to be some strip mines down here. So this is where I've done quite a bit of strip mining. I like the look of this. It looks interesting, but this area up here is completely revealed to the sky. Breaking the illusion a little bit. But yeah, I almost never go into this area. There's so little for me here except for a mine, so... And I've exhausted most of the mine here, so... I wind up never visiting this base practically at all. I say practically. I'm pretty sure the last time I visited that was during a world tour, so... heading over in this direction and dropping down a little bit... we're going to wind up seeing a little bit of water flowing off here. A little bit of a mishap happened with a gas at one point. I'm not going to explain it. You're just going to have to take my word on that. And heading all the way over here, we get to, I believe, what I refer to as Gamma Base. So we have Alpha Base, which is the main one, Beta Base, which is the one we were just at, and this one, which is Gamma Base. We got another big hole. I was in the process of building a glass dome that I never finished, and down here is a large lava pool that I never finished. This base doesn't have a whole lot going on. It's supposed to be a big grand thing, but the actual where it's leading, so if I walk all the way down here, we get to a small tunnel that's not finished, and into a little brick room. This was a little room I made back in beta 1.7, like right before hunger was introduced, so this is supposed to be a small minimalist idea of I was wanting to make a underwater city, basically, but I never wound up doing too much with it. It's just a pain to work down here. The entire ground's almost gravel, so it's really hard to dig around. I wound up putting a lot of storage here, so I could wind up storing all the stone for the dig I made. I have some enchanting here. This is my first ever enchanting table, but I wanted making other ones because having my only enchanting table being all the way out here was just annoying. I put it out here to incentivize me to work out here more, and I never did. This is actually like my third iteration of this base. I've redesigned it multiple times. Most of them are ugly, so you're not going to be missing too much. There's a ladder here, so I can get up and show you what used to be here. So if I head all the way up here, there is a line for me to put a rail, but once again, I use the nether and I never use rails, so this line doesn't really do anything now. This base has kind of been subjected to the most of basically the updates really hurting me, because I would have an idea and use it at the space, and then an update would come out and make that idea not very usable, so this base has just kind of been subjected to bad thing after bad thing. Hopping over here used to be another XP farm of mine. This one's probably the worst. This is a spider XP farm. So there is a spawner down there, spawns spiders. They flow all the way up here in this thing, and then drop all the way down here. I put fences here so they couldn't climb back up, and then they learned how to climb back up anyways. This XP farm is easily my worst. I'm going to pretend like it doesn't exist because I don't want it to. Alright, back to the center of the large dome area here and entering the portals again. We actually have quite a bit more to experience off in this direction. We have a little bit more water here. That was a up and down system. We'll get to that later in the tour. because it wound up colliding with another one of my builds. I did not figure that out for like 100 episodes later either, just to make myself feel even dumber. But over here we have 2 portals. This one is not going to be too long of a tour, because when I hop over through here, we are going to be entering a desert. Basically what's out here is what I like to call the lone chunk. This is just a small chunk error where a single thing decided to spawn in the middle of a desert. I find it very interesting, but more importantly, if I run all the way over here, this here is a village. This is the first ever village I got villagers from. Back in the time, they were called testificates. They had the word testificate over their head. They weren't used for anything until they wound up adding iron farms, in which case then I began using these for iron farms. It's not very big. There's only about 2 here when I found it, so just enough to be inbreeding them. If I head over in this direction and look over here, we are going to be seeing, I need to figure out where it is again. I believe it is, yeah, it's over here. You can see the terrain here looks quite interesting. This is my Obsidian Farm. I spawn another portal out here, I break it, harvest the obsidian. This is basically where I got all of the obsidian for my pigman farm. The terrain here is hurt so bad the portals began spawning underground, making the obsidian farm less than useful. So I've stopped using this one, and I now just mine obsidian at the end. But I haven't had an extraordinarily use for obsidian in a very long time, so even then, I haven't mined most of the obsidian at the end either. You'll be seeing that whenever I get to the end portion of this tour. Alright, back over here at the intersection, in which case, this over here is Beta, or the transit base, and heading down this small, very cramped tunnel is a tunnel I don't go down very often, except in very particular circumstances. But we are going to be seeing another portal coming up very close as I hop in over here. This is probably the base that I visited the least, period, which is supposed to be the warehouse base. I built a setup building over here, and over here is supposed to be a massive thing of stone slabs, but I haven't gone very far on it. It's quite a large, it goes off basically into render distance when well past, so I've set up quite a bit of stone slabs, but this is supposed to be an enormous project. What it was originally, back before they added stuff like hoppers and such, this was basically supposed to be a warehouse that was sized to contain every single item in the game. I have a whole episode doing the math on statistically if an update occurred every so months, then this thing would be able to contain all of the updates that would be capable of happening in my lifetime. We haven't gotten an update in like a year now, so that math is very off. So, yeah. But heading back over here, we have the small little house. It's a bit lopsided. But looking inside here, we have the main amount of stone/wooden slabs. So this is the Fireproof Slabs. I made a whole ton of them at one point and stored them all the way over here. Basically, I was told that they were going to be getting removed, so I wound up making a whole bunch of them because Fireproof Slabs is extraordinarily useful, and I wanted to get as many as I could. I probably could have crafted a whole bunch more, but I think the amount of chests that are here is perfectly fine. But yeah, there's no longer Fireproof Slabs. One day they may add a new variant for that, in which case that would be extremely nice, but yeah, I don't think they're going to. Heading down this tunnel for a long ways, insert cut here. Alright, finally got to the end of the run here, and going down a very short staircase into some water, and slowly make my way down here. We are going to wind up dropping into another attempt at making an XP farm. You probably can already tell what this XP farm is going to be, but this is where I use quite a bit of water. This is a blaze XP farm. It doesn't work too well. They wind up dying quite often before I get to the spot. But I do have an Enchanting Table here and a whole bunch of chests so I can enchant things. I almost never use it. It's very nice that it exists, but yeah, blazes die more often than not before ever reaching me, so hence why this place also looks super ugly, because I never use it, so therefore if I never see it, and therefore I never feel like I need to polish it, so that's basically what's going on over here at this XP farm. But I would like to say the water here is nice and quick comparatively, because I made very, very hard to make sure that the water here was optimized to be as quick as possible. So that's a good thing at least, but Blaze Farm's bad. Alright, back at the intersection here, heading all the way back now. You may have not been able to notice, but there was actually a second way that we could wind up going in the event we would wind up going through that portal. In which case, the way is backwards, but the backwards way does not look as nice because I didn't bother decorating it. But this direction! Woo! Bunch of netherrack! Heading off in this direction and up, we see where there is a hole in the bedrock. Previously, over here was a contraption in order to get me up above it by pushing a minecart through, but I had to use that for a long time until I was capable of actually breaking the bedrock, which was fairly recently. By recently, I mean like the last year. I got a nether portal over there to drag me down. About 10,000 blocks in that direction is the locked chest I talked about. And over all the way this direction is a, well, AFK-able gold farm. I'm not going to go all the way up there. It doesn't look very good, but up there's a gold farm. It's not remotely interesting. But yeah, that's what's going on all the way up there. In case you're curious at all, it is my desperate attempt to make a gold farm using water streams. If you are ever curious about it, I think I have a fairly recent episode about it. So if you care about that at all, then just go watch that. But heading off in this direction, down here goes nowhere. This is a tunnel to nothing. But heading all the way up here, we see the remainder of the water that I used. This entire nether roof, as much as I possibly could manage, is covered in water. I filled this thing with as much water as I possibly could. Down that direction is a little something I'll be showing you later, but heading over here is possibly either, I probably have to, if I'm being honest, my second favorite base. I really want to call it my favorite base, but it's kind of hard to beat Alpha, but over here is what I feel is my favorite non-main base. Hopping all the way down here, using the stream to break my fall every once in a while to make sure I don't build up too much acceleration. We are going to wind up reaching the main castle. I'm going to make sure there's no gas out here, but we get over here to the castle and the nether, or as I like to call it, the nether water base. There's a little shack over here. Doesn't do too much. But over here is where the main nether water base is. I have gone through and have meticulously filled out as much as the nether as you can possibly see from this base with water. This is where most of the water went back when that glitch was initially created. Over there's my head. I had an idea for that, but I kind of got rid of it because I didn't like the idea. So it's just now kind of a head on a beach. But inside of here, we get a few intersections. Over here isn't really much. This is a platform that's been used for like 500 projects that I tear it down and make a new thing. It's just an endlessly platform for new projects, so I just keep tearing it out and going away. Down over on this divide, going over in this direction, is the Hall of Episodes. This is a full list of every single episode I've ever listed in my world. So if I were to choose one at random, over here is episode 72, The Little Things, uploaded in 2012. If I head all the way back, episode 41, Automatic Sugar. This is 2011, and if I keep going all the way back, eventually you're going to see episode 1, The New Dimension, the Nether. This was uploaded in 2010, my apologies. But if I head all the way down here, eventually we will get to today's episode. If I actually wound up adding it, I'm very bad about adding episodes to this thing. It's also, you can also see the tunnel is not also finished to allocate all of the episodes that I've uploaded. What's the last episode? I'm 17 episodes behind on updating this thing. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see that. But yeah, it's a haul of every single episode. I have extended to reach about 1,000 episodes, I believe. So if I ever wind up reaching that, then amazing. I'm technically a fifth of the way there, but even then, like, I've been doing this for years, so a fifth of the way is still not very far. Up here is a little storage system that I have here at the Nether water base, and over here is an automatic furnace. I have a whole ton of lava buckets and cobblestone being turned into stone down here, just constantly being cooked. I have a ton of cobblestone in this world, but I really need stone, as you can tell. Use a lot of stone everywhere. And if I head all the way over here and go down these steps, slowly but surely, making sure not to do anything too stupid, we're going to get to where I gather all the lava from. So obsidian is right here. Water is right above it because I put water above all of the lava. But there is still lava trapped underneath the obsidian, so what I do is I go through here with a bucket and I pick up all of the lava underneath the obsidian, because it's not going to disturb the ocean now. I don't need the lava ocean. I have a water ocean, so I can remove as much of the lava ocean as I want in order to fuel my actual furnace setup. I'm failing at using stairs. But yeah, that is where I mainly get the lava for fueling the actual cooking of all of this. Heading off in this direction, we reach a very old wood farm of mine. So once again, used to do these used to become wood, like oak wood, but birch no longer does that, but I still use it for birch because using wood for just standard crafting is still very nice. But if I head all the way up here, we reach the part of the farm I almost never use nowadays, which is a enormous birch farm. And yeah, I don't use this too often simply because yeah, I need oak wood, but if I ever need a whole ton of wood just for bulk crafting, then there we go. If I ever need a ton of charcoal, there we go. Like, hey, got all that going for me, I guess. But yeah, Nether water base sadly is not very large. There's technically one more thing I almost completely forgot to show you guys. But yeah, not much left to the Nether water base. It's one of those bases I always want to work on, but I never have enough ideas for. Over here is my nether wart farm, because previously I needed to grow nether wart in the actual nether in order to actually be able to harvest it. In which case all I have to do is on the other side click a piston and it will shift all of this. Nether wart will drop on the floor, then I'll walk over here, click this piston, it will shift it all back to previous, and I plant it all again. Not very complex. I don't need a ton of nether wart. I primarily use this farm for when I was crafting health potions to kill zombies, but all I need for that is like one piece of nether wart for every 3 batches, so isn't exactly something I'm needing a ton of, but it's something that can wind up coming up every once in a while. Alright, back up here at the main intersection in the large overpool for the ceiling of the nether, I'm going to be going down in this direction in order to show you what I think is probably going to be the last thing on the tour here, actually. Going across these pressure plates, we're going to be going down this hall. There's a whole bunch of other things that I could wind up showing you here in this world, a bunch of random tunnels. I have like 3 mushroom islands I have tunnels to, but they're like half an hour just to walk to. One of them is over an hour, I'm pretty sure. Like for example, this tunnel leads to one. But yeah, nothing much going on over there. I think I also have a mesa leading somewhere. But going through this portal, we get to the end portal, appropriate for the end of this tour. But if I hop on through it, we are going to wind up reaching a large crater over here at the main end islands. If I run all the way over here, you can see most of the pillars are still in place over here. And if I eventually hop all the way over here and around, we're going to wind up getting all the way over to the distance, which is going to be my portal back to spawn. I'm not going to be using that because I do have a project over here at the end. In which case, if I head all the way back to the opposite direction and head back over to my crater, which is my spawn crater, the little obsidian platform I use in order to get here and back, hopping all the way down here and back up, we are going to wind up reaching a chest and a little cobblestone block. If I hop all the way down here, we are going to see water. Woo! Splish all the way through here and then run all the way down the full length of this platform. There is no side rails here, just for everything to be extra dangerous. Little bit of a walk here, but as I walk down here, you can see a little bit loading in the distance. calming and foreboding, if you will. But as I come all the way down here, we are going to be reaching, I believe I refer to it as Epsilon, or the Void Base, as I like to think of it. I actually think I have a different name that is even better. I have to read the sign, I think the introductory sign that I have for visitors, aka me. But as I come all the way over here, you're going to see a whole bunch of little cells. The idea I had for this space was going to be basically a museum of sorts. It was going to be showcasing different mechanics and different updates over time. For example, over here I have a cobblestone generator, cell 5 cobblestone generator, in which case I can break that. I have obsidian underneath both of them, so that way I can AFK. Over here I have cell 0004, a fishing pond, basically just a little pool of water. It also works as an infinite water source. There's full of bob in there. Heading all the way over here, continuing the clockwise manner, we're going to get to my main XP farm. I can just go through here and punch each of these individual dudes and actually build up a good amount of XP. All the way up, if I were to look up, I want to make sure not to look directly, we are going to wind up seeing large towers, and Endermen spawn all the way up there. They spawn and then fall, and they fall and hit at exactly a singular hit point. So, I'm capable of building a good amount of XP just by running through and hitting them with my bow. Continuing all the way over to the main thing here, we can see the signs. The Void Archive, that's what I called it, and it was Epsilon, I was right. But heading all the way over here, we can see where I have expansion plans in order to make more cells. Heading all the way over here, we have cell 0003, the utility room. We'll open the gates here. We have a little mushroom so I can eat some food. I was wanting to move over more of these guys. I have a whole episode I recommend watching. It's just me being a complete failure at being able to move mushrooms, so yeah. But over here is basically just where I put some storage and certain utility blocks, like ender chest and a craft bench. I almost called it a craft bench. But yeah, running all the way over here, we now have enchanting, so whenever I get done killing endermen, I can walk over to this enchanting table and enchant something up. But heading all the way down here, we're just going to see a whole ton of empty cells. This is basically for different ideas that I feel represent the game while also being useful. In case you were curious, yeah, Enchanting Table. And I believe I also have a sign over here. I believe this is Cell 1, in case you were curious. Yeah, Cell 1 and Ender Pearl Farm. But it's more of an XP farm, honestly. I have enough Ender Pearls. But yeah, running through here and punching each of these dudes, as you can see, level builds quite fast. These guys spawn at a fairly decent rate. It's not the best. 1 or 2 spawn by the time I'm done punching the rest of them, so it's always, like, fine, but you have to micromanage it a little bit more than I care for. But yeah, that's going to be it for the world tour, ending here with Epsilon. So all I have to really do now is run all the way back to the main island, and that's going to wind up completing today's tour, guys. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'm hoping that the next update will be coming soon. It's been, like, a while. It's been a while since we've got an update, guys. I'm gonna be honest. It's been a hot minute. But they've been doing snapshots for a long time now, so I'm hopeful that the update will eventually pass through. So yeah. In the event you guys want to see me work on anything in particular in this world, I've shown you most of the projects I have going on here, and I'm interested in working on so many of them. There's so much work I can always be doing in this world, and I always love to hear what you guys have to say about basically certain projects and what you think of them. I have so many going on that I can work on basically any of them, so if you guys want me to work on any particular one, then be sure to tell me. And if you guys also like this episode, I would also like to hear it. And any projects you think I should be working on. Like, if I didn't show off anything to you and you're like, man, I can't believe he doesn't have X farm, or I can't believe he isn't doing X thing in his world, then please be sure to tell me. I always love hearing your guys' ideas. Like, being able to work in Minecraft as a series is more than just me talking into a microphone and building blocks. It's kind of like this community building experience. You wind up building something together. It's not just you sitting here playing Minecraft by yourself. It's a whole bunch of people contributing to make a world greater. So, as you can see, spawned all the way up here. But yeah, guys, that's going to be doing it for today's episode. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be seeing you guys here in the next one. So long. See ya. Bye.